So Armagh 116, Donegal 116 at the Athletic Grounds. In the end, it's a draw between Armagh and Donegal. So the day finishes how the day pretty much started. And funnily enough, Tyrone and Monaghan have finished in a draw as well. So we are level across the board in both games, which means that Donegal and Armagh, or Donegal and Tyrone, I should say, have both finished in the league semi-final positions. It also means that Armagh and Monaghan will go into the relegation playoffs. So, I mean, what a crazy last few minutes. I mean, at one stage, it looked like Donegal, I think, were in third position going into the final few minutes, and then they rallied late on to ending up finishing in the top two places. I think Donegal finished first now, if I'm correct there, and Tyrone finished second. So, quite extraordinary in the end that Donegal have managed to find a way to get into the top two. It shows that they're a team with so much experience, really. You know, you think of the Monaghan game. At one stage in that game, they looked dead and buried. They looked beaten. They looked finished. They didn't look like they knew how to turn that one around. And then they did. They found a way. Paddy McBrearty, unbelievable. Like, what a top-class footballer this guy is. Just absolute brilliance in this game. And in the last game as well against Monaghan. And, you know, to kick those points late on, you know, at times, under the pressure, big moments, you know, a lot on the line potentially because... Look, listen, I think, you know, it's to get relegated down to Division 2, I think would be a huge disappointment for Donegal. And considering the injuries they had coming into this game, you know, you had obviously Michael Murphy, Jamie Brennan, Oisin Gallen and Neil McGee late injuries as well. There was a lot of pressure on Donegal here, a lot of pressure on some of the new lads who came into the team, the likes of Niall O'Donnell, for example, and of course, Paddy McBrearty, who's obviously been there since 2012. But, you know, he was coming into this season on the back of an injury from the club championship last year. And I thought he was absolutely tremendous. He really, really was. But of course, for Armagh, it's another missed opportunity. It's similar again to the Tyrone game. They should have seen that game out. They really should have. They had that Stephen Campbell penalty. And now in this game as well, they were 4 points up at one stage going into the final 20 minutes or so. They then got that goal, of course, from Tiernan Kelly. You're thinking then, okay, now they're 4 points in front. Now they're going to go on to win the game. And they still just couldn't see it out. And you know, from looking at both Armagh and Donegal, there was two big things that really stood out for me, in my opinion, and that was experience. You know, you've seen Armagh kind of going into the final few minutes, you know, when they were playing it from side to side, trying to work a score. Connor Turbo obviously hits the post, but then there was another effort from Oisin O'Neill. It's a very speculative point. You know, he's a midfielder. Is he really going to score from there? I don't think he is. He goes for it, and it ends up falling short. And Donegal just side to side for 5 to 6 minutes, waiting for the opportunity. Niall O'Donnell eventually puts it over the bar. And Donegal, even after that, then, of course, knew that a draw was good enough for them, so they didn't want to surrender possession. But, yeah, in the end, this is the match reaction, of course, here on GA Fan TV. My name is Aaron, so do drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching the video live now, feel free to post any comments down below what you thought of the game. And who was your man of the match? For me, obviously, I think Paddy McBrearty was outstanding, but special mention to Stephen Campbell. I thought he was brilliant in the first half. I thought he was really, really bright, 4 points. Rory Grugan, of course, as well. And Oisin O'Neill, of course, at times as well, with of course, the 3 points. Of course, in the end, or kind of just running through some of the big moments, obviously, at the start of the game, you know, obviously, Rory Grugan with that early score. Paddy McBrearty had a big chance, of course, after that and ended up putting it over the bar. And Donegal were getting in behind Armagh once or twice. Like, you had that Owen Van Gallagher chance. It was certainly an opportunity. And Stephen Campbell was just really ripping through Donegal early on. And I think actually having the fans back as well made a big difference to Armagh as well, because they were really willing the team on. And especially in that first half, you know, Armagh were 5-1 up at the first water break. Certainly the fans really spurring that Armagh side on. You know, and the likes of Ross McQuillan, of course, you know, he went off obviously in the 41st minute, but I thought he was brilliant as well. Kicked the points, looks very, very sharp, obviously coming back from AFL. So it's going to be interesting to see, obviously, what happens with him over the next while. Rian O'Neill, probably not his best game, in all honesty, just a point on the day. But, you know, Armagh were certainly setting up very, very deep. And then they were trying to offload the ball very quickly into the likes of Rian O'Neill, into the likes of Oisin O'Neill, Rory Grugan, etc., and trying to move the ball quickly. They were floating a lot of long balls up there. And it was causing problems for Donegal. You know, Donegal have obviously had to make a couple of changes to their defence. You know, Neil McGee's gone off injured. And Armagh were getting a lot of joy with it. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But I thought as the first half went on, you could see Donegal starting to settle more into the game. You know, Paddy McBrearty is just unmarkable. You know, obviously, for a lot of defenders, they don't want to have him go on his left-hand side because more than likely he's going to put it over the bar. But 9 times out of 10, he just finds a way to wiggle around a couple of players and put it over the bar anyway. I mean, he's He's top class stuff. He really, really is. Jamar Hall for Armagh was impressive at times as well. He kicked a point in the second half. Just his link-up play, I thought, was very bright and really caused a lot of problems for Donegal on a few occasions. For Donegal, like obviously Niall O'Donnell came in, missed a couple of chances early on in the first half, but certainly in the second half improved quite massively and obviously kicked that late score, showed a tremendous amount of bottle, obviously, to put that over the bar. But Paddy McBrearty with 8 points, like, you run out of words to describe this man. You really, really do. And Michael Langan, to be fair, 1-1. Again, another cracking goal, a bit like the Monaghan game again. Really well taken finish, putting it in the back of the net. Was really, really impressed with that. Of course, at the start of the second half. And it was a strange game because I felt like when Michael Langan put that ball in the back of the net, that, okay, Donegal are really going to kick on here and they're going to overtake Armagh. That, Armagh had started to run out of options a little bit at that point. They weren't floating long balls in the same way as they were in the first. Thought Donegal were starting to get more grips on it. But, fair play to Armagh. They did fight a way back into it and they did go 4 points in front twice, as a matter of fact, obviously after the second goal from Tiernan Kelly. But yeah, Donegal found a way. They found a way just like they did against Monaghan. Tremendous amount of credit has to go to them, despite the injuries and everything else. They've shown a lot of fight and a lot of players have really had to step up with the likes of Michael Murphy, Oisin Gallen injured. And, because there's one stage where I was looking at that first half and I think he had Niall O'Donnell and I can't remember the other player who were kicking frees from the left-hand side and they both put it wide. And you're thinking, if Donegal don't have a good free kick taker from that left-hand side of the pitch, to kick it on their right boot, it could be worrying signs for Donegal. They could, you're looking at that Ulster Championship and Derry beating them, is not out of sight. But in the second half, as the game went on, you just seen their quality, you've seen their experience, the likes of Caleb McGonigal slowing the game down, Pater Mogan, brilliant as well, Ryan McHugh showing his experience, of course, in this Donegal team. And, they were able to find a way, they were able to get the draw. And of course, eventually, set up what will now be a league semi-final against probably either Dublin or Kerry or maybe Galway, depending, of course, on what happens tomorrow as well. And yeah, experience for me was just the main thing, a bit like last week, like what I said there, kind of at the start of the video, the final few minutes, Conor Turba hitting the post. That's just luck, isn't it? He's just very unlucky there hitting the post. 9 times out of 10, that probably goes over the bar. It's a 2-point game and it's completely a difference. Armagh would have won the game then, in my opinion. And, there's a thin line between success and failure. And in this National League system, there really is just, there's so little between all the teams. And I think for Armagh, though, they can leave this, if they, depending on what, they'll probably play Roscommon, I'd imagine. I reckon they'll probably win that and avoid relegation. And I think they can, leave, of course, or go into the championship with their heads held high because they've shown a lot of quality. They've shown a lot of fight. And a lot of people really would have looked at Armagh and thought maybe they'll get rolled over a little bit like what they did against Donegal in the Ulster Championship last year. But that wasn't the case. They really, really fought in all 3 games and arguably could have won all 3 games. And, we could have been looking at Armagh with 6 points going into a league semi-final in a seeded position, finishing in first. But it is what it is. Donegal found a way to fight back. They've used their experience so well, just like they did against Monaghan, and get the draw. And it's going to be interesting to see, obviously, what happens now tomorrow, of course, between Dublin and Galway and Kerry and Roscommon. Of course, do let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the game. Who was your man of the match? Paddy McBrearty, I don't think you can really argue with that. But I think for Armagh, I was impressed with Stephen Campbell. Very, very much so. And Caleb McGonigal, I thought, had a good game for Donegal as well in midfield, especially in the second half. Just slowing the game down, slowing down the tempo, all the rest. So, do leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. This has been the match reaction, of course, after Armagh have drawn 116 to 116 with Donegal. And I'll see you later.